Thor here. In my last episode I covered the adventure of going to Navajo Canyon and reported on some of the new and wonderful things happening here in Lake Powell. I showed everything from State Line Legacy launch to the place I landed in Navajo Canyon, Lake Powell. This episode will be a continuation of the last one, and in it I will show you the amazing place called the Sand Dome in Navajo Canyon. This place was no doubt the go-to place last year and likely will be again this coming year. If you haven't watched the previous episode, I would strongly recommend it, but if you have, thank you, and I hope you enjoy part 2.
So it's early morning and I just got up, did a lot of work yesterday, and basically in the middle of the night there was this houseboat that came into my little cove that I'm at over here. You know, there's probably a total of maybe 3 to 5 boats on this whole lake. These guys managed to find the one other guy taking it easy. That's okay though, you know, they're rentals. I don't think they meant any harm by it. They did come in at nighttime, so I'm pretty sure they were just like trying to find a cove at last moment. Funny stuff though, funny how that works out. See you later, neighbor. Quick moment of your time. If you enjoy this kind of content and want to help support me, the best way you can do that is through an app called Patreon. The video you're currently watching right now took me about 30 hours to edit, so it takes a lot of my time personally to make this content available to you, and I do appreciate it when I get something in return. So if you want to help me out, definitely check out Patreon. You'll also get some behind the scene footage and some really cool access. Thank you for your time. I left mid-morning. The temperature in these canyons in December or during the winter are particularly cold. I can report that 32 degrees was the high of my temperature for the day. Fortunately, my dog is part husky, so she stayed nice and warm. I really wish I could have said the same. Okay, go. Thor here, and I'm at a place called the Sand Dome in Navajo Canyon. This place is huge, and this whole landmass just surfaced. There didn't really used to be any beaches in Navajo Canyon unless you went way far up into Navajo Canyon, but now we have this massive beach behind us, and I'll show you a little more about it. The landmass known as the Sand Dome was larger than I remember it being, and it offered a plethora of sand or rock landings. I took the closest cove as it had an abundance of driftwood on it. I will admit though, if I would have brought my cruiser here, I probably would have picked a different spot, as there were several more tempting offers. There's a lot of wildlife tracks out here. Looks like coyotes. So it's no mystery as to why they would have called this place a sand dome at some point in time. Obviously now the waters have receded and it's turned more into a landmass. So behind me here you'll see that used to be one of the original beaches in Navajo Canyon. It would have been one of the first ones you would have come across. That beach right there. How cool is that? I was surprised to see so much snow, especially since this place would be exposed to direct sunlight. Soft sand and snow to me just doesn't seem like the two should exist together, but I'm happy to report that they do. It created a beautiful mix of white, yellow, and red. I felt truly fortunate to be able to capture the canyon in such a rare state and be able to share it with you. The Sand Dome was very busy this year, no doubt because not many places can offer both seclusion and a party environment. While I stay out of the lake midsummer due to so many tourists, I did make a short trip through this spot and it was really busy, and it was amazing to see several boats tied up in the cove. I could see children, hikers, and their pets running all over this landmass. The place was busy making good memories, and in the end that really is what Lake Powell is all about. Well, that and being a resource for water and power. While conditions during the wintertime are calm, the small channel was quite choppy during the busy season.
I had reports that several small boats were swamped during their stay here. I was also told that one mostly or fully sank here, but I was unable to get that verified. The main cause for the chop here was wakes created by surf boats. However, I was told there were some issues with large cruisers blasting by landed vessels and swamping them. It is important to remember that regardless of conditions or area, you are always responsible for your wakes. In the past, it was difficult to prove wake damage. However, I did speak with a lot of folks who installed security cameras on their boats this year to be able to prove who and what damaged their boats. If you have not installed a security camera on your boat, I would strongly recommend it, especially since it would appear that some people have forgotten how to boat courteously. A simple and cheap solution for those of you wondering is a car dash camera, but there are other options available. After exploring the landmass for a while, I went back to my landing and collected some driftwood for a fire. Large amounts of wood have settled this year due to the extraordinary amount of rain which creates runoff here in Lake Powell. Be very careful if you run a jet boat in these areas where you can see wood chips or small sticks floating, as they are known to clog up boat engine cooling systems and destroy water pumps. On my way back, I decided to capture something extraordinary that hasn't been able to be seen since the 1960s. I hope you enjoy it more than I did enjoy capturing it. It was quite cold, and by the time I made it back to my cruiser, my hands and legs were numb. Fortunately, I would be able to make a nice fire for a little while to warm up, before I would eventually call it the day. So it's about 10 o'clock right now. Rested a little bit today after I got here. I did a time-lapse video. I also examined some of the conditions further into Navajo Canyon. And so I am absolutely exhausted. It's been a lot of work today. I've recorded a lot of footage. I've made a lot of progress, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good. So now I'm just kicking back, taking it easy, trying to fall asleep, but not having much luck there. Yeah, just playing the keyboard a little bit. Enjoying my night. Thor here. So I've been here for 4 days now, and honestly I've captured just about all the footage I wanted to capture. It's time to head back. I imagine I've got a boatload of social media to catch up on. I haven't talked to my family in a while, and I'm sure some of them are a little worried about me. I have one day to kind of catch up on everything, and that's why I think I'm going to start heading back right now. But it's been an absolutely marvelous trip. I've absolutely loved this trip. It's been beautiful out here. It's been blessed. I feel blessed. And now it's time to start packing everything up and get on out of here. Leaving was more hard than I like to admit. Basking in the glory of Navajo Canyon is an amazing thing, but like all things, both in nature and in man, there is a beginning and an end. While my journey was coming to an end, I couldn't help but recognize just how fortunate I was to see this place and how thankful I am to God and those of you who helped make this possible. I have said this before, but I think it warrants saying it again. Lake Powell is a spiritual place. Even for the non-spiritual, spend enough time in Lake Powell and your spirit will find you. I also say something to a lot of folks out here. The worst part about Lake Powell is having to leave. It is a bittersweet thing. It is easy for me to say I am in love with this place. No amount of words can describe it, and it brings me even more joy to share it with the world. True happiness and contentment can be found here, and for many it is hard to top. But I am happy that so many come to visit this gem of the world. Lake Powell is truly mankind's greatest achievement, a perfect balance of machine and nature. I hope you too get to visit this place soon. I am sure Lake Powell would not mind.
Of course, no trip would be complete without a quick visit to the thing that makes all of this possible. So it's been one heck of a trip, and I had a great time. Boat's back at the launch here, and I'm gonna take off and I'm gonna get out of here, get out of this lake. It's been a wonderful time, and I've really enjoyed it. So remember, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, definitely do. And if you really like my content and you want to definitely support me a little more, go ahead and flip over to my Patreon, link in the description. And until next time, this is Thor, signing out. There's like billions and billions of coots over here for some reason. It's a lot of coots here at the marina.
I'd like to give a special thanks to my Asgardians, Joseph, Vernimus, Brett, James, Joseph, and Jay. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. You're awesome.